Good afternoon, everybody. We're going to go ahead and start with our lesson today. I went ahead and already wrote our objectives down. That way we can make the video shorter a little bit. So today is a beautiful day of May the 4th of 2020. Happy Star Wars Day, everybody. The title of our lesson is called Reading and Making Stem and Leaf Plots. We are still talking about data. So this is another form we can organize data when we're using different tables. So our first objective is TEKS 4.9a, represent data on a frequency table, dot plot, or stem and leaf plot, marked with whole numbers and fractions. So we already did the frequency table with Ms. Gallardo, the dot plot you did it last week with me, and today we're going to cover the stem and leaf plot, okay? We're still going to be using whole numbers and fractions as our numbers. We also have TEKS 4.9b, solve 1- and 2-step problems using data in whole numbers, decimal, and fraction form, and in a frequency table, dot plot, or stem and leaf plot. So again, same thing, we're still solving for 1- and 2-step problems or multi-step problems, and we're still using whole numbers, decimals, and fractions. And we already learned frequency table and dot plot, so today we're going to be learning about the stem and leaf plot. Okay, so we're going to jump into our language of the discipline today. Our language of the discipline is stem and leaf plot. Okay, the stem and leaf plot is a convenient way to organize data using numerical order and place value. So the stem and leaf plot, basically, you need to have everything in order from least to greatest, or according to their place value. So if you remember back to the beginning of the school year, we need to go back and remember where our ones, tens, and hundreds are, basically. That way, the stem and leaf plot can come handy when we are organizing data. So for example, the stem and leaf plot will look something like this. It will have your title. So all the stem and leaf plots that you will see will have a title. So when they ask you to create one, make sure you put a title for your stem and leaf plot. The one for this example I'm using is the number of dogs groomed each week. So number of dogs groomed each week. Okay. Notice how I am still leaving each letter of each word capitalized. Why? Because it is a title. So remember, the only ones that don't go with the title will be the ones that show like so, okay? So remember that. So now, we have our title. Then underneath it, you will see stem, a line, and then leaf. Stem, leaf. Now they call this a stem and leaf plot because it sort of looks like a plant. So when we look at a plant, right, when it's growing, it has its stem and then it has its little leaves. Okay? So you will notice why they will call it a stem and leaf plot, because it has its stem, which is this one right here, the side, and then the leaves will be the other values. So a stem, let's go ahead and elaborate a little bit more on the stem. The stem is the tens digit of each data value. Okay, and then right now when we fill it out, you'll know why. And then the leaf is the ones digit of each data value. Okay, so the leaf you will only put values that belong to the ones, and in the stem, you will only put values that belong to the tens place. Okay, so that's why we need to realize and we need to use our comprehension method again as to remembering how we work with place value. So now let me go ahead and input some values so you more or less see what I'm talking about. So in this case, I'm just going to input them here, but when you see them, you will be seeing them in a table, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and input them, and when we work on more examples, I'll show you how they will actually look. So we have stem and leaf. So let's say we want to write the number 14 down, right? I want to write the number 14 down. On the stem part, I will only put the tens place value. And on the leaf part, I will only put the ones place value. So number 14, if we were to write number 14, right? 14. How will I break this number up according to tens and ones? Well, this number will look 10 plus 4, right? So my 4 will go on my leaf. And my 10, I'm not going to write the 10 in totality as a whole because I will make a bigger number. So that 0 already belongs to the ones, right? So according to my place value, this is my ones and this is my tens. Yes, my ones and tens. So if I only write the digit that belongs to the tens value and the stem, I'm not going to use the 0, I'm only using the 1. So 14. Okay, so you guys see, you can still see the number 14, right? But it's divided by this line right here. That's the line that divides the stem and leaf, making the digits for the tens here, making the digits for the ones here. Okay, let's try another number. How about 20? So 20, yes, we're going to put the 2 for the tens, right? And the 0 for the 20. Okay, now let's say I want to write another number, let's say 29. Do I add another column at the bottom? No. Okay, we will continue using that stem that you created. So you already used the number 2 for the stem, so that's going to be 20, and then you just add the 9 after that 0. 9. So on this one right here, we have 3 values. My first value is 14. My second value is 20. My third value is 29. Okay. Next one, let's say I want to do 30 now. So I will just write 30, the 3 on the stem, the 0 on the leaf. Now I want to add 34. So I already have the stem for the 30. I just need to add the 4 on the leaf, right? So I will add it after the 0, so making it 34. Now I want to add 45. 4 for the stem, 5 for the leaf. Now let's say I want to add 48. So my stem, I go back, do I have a 4 for the stem already? Yes, I have a 4 for the stem. I need to add the leaf, so I'm going to add the leaf of 48. Now let's say that I want to add the number 48 again, right? So again, I'm going to go to the stem. Okay, I have 40. Now I'm going to add the other 8. But wait a minute, I already have 48. What happens next? Well, if you have numbers that repeat itself, then you simply write them again, okay? So I had 48 there already once, right? So what am I going to do if I have another 48? Simply go to my stem. I have my 4. I have 45, 48. I'm going to add another 48. I simply add another 8. That way we have 2 48s now. So 45, 48, and 48, okay? Now, at the bottom of every stem and leaf plot, we have what we call a key. Okay, this key, think of it as on a map key. When we're studying maps, it has a little legend, right? And the legend or /key tells you what's on the map. So for this one, for the key, it will tell you how to read your numbers. So for example, it will give you, for example, I'm going to say 1. It's going to give you a line, and then 1. It's going to say line 1 equals to 11. So that's how I read this, right? So line number equals the number you want to read. Awesome. So that's how I read it. 1 line 4 equals to 14. 2 line 0 equals to 20. 2 line 9 equals to 29. 3 line 0 equals to 30. 3 line 4 equals to 34. 4 line 5 equals to 45. 4 line 8 equals to 48. And 4 line 8 equals to 48. So those are our values for this lesson, okay? The key shows you how to read the stem and leaves, okay? Now, I do need to remind you that in order for us to create this stem and leaf, right, I want to go ahead and give you a hint. Hint. Remember, students, remember that you will need to organize your numbers from least to greatest, or in chronological order. Okay, so what do I mean by this? So you will have a table, right? A table that will give you numbers, and you will have to put that table into the stem and leaf plot. So notice how I left everything in order. I didn't put the 1 over here. I didn't put the 2 up here. I started in order. So I started with my 1, and then moved on to my 2 and 3 and 4 to my tens part. And then I added the leaves accordingly. But the leaves, I also left them in order, okay? So please make sure that you are leaving everything in organized in order. That way, you guys, when you guys are setting your data, it doesn't look all mumble jumbled, okay? Remember that if there is a digit without a leaf, for example, it's the number 10. You will have the number 10, right? You will have number 10. So in this case, the 0 will be my leaf. You will add the 0, just like we did for the 20 and the 30, okay? Now, for example, let's say they give us the number 9. What will we do? Well, the 9 is just on the leaf. Do we have a stem? Well, yes, it's an invisible 0. So in this case, I would have added a 0 up here and then added the 9. 0, 9. That would have made my number 9, okay? Okay, so let's go ahead and look at another example. If we're looking at this example or our problem of the day, let's read it. The table shows the ages of the first 20 people who entered a library one morning. Make a stem and leaf plot of the data. So they will show you a table, right, that has information on it. So we have the title, Ages and Years of 20 Library Users, and these are their ages. So the first thing that we need to do before creating our stem and leaf plot is organize these numbers from least to greatest. That way, when we plot them into our table, into our stem and leaf, it will be easier. So let's go ahead and look here. Let's see if we can identify the smallest number. So to make it easier, I encourage you just to look at the tens place value. That way you can look at the smallest number. So I can see that 1. So 1 in my tens place value, 12, anything smaller than 12, right there, 10. So it looks like 10 is our smallest number. So the first thing that I will do, I will just write 10 and then cross that 10 out so I don't double put it on my table. Now let's see what number follows 10. So in this case, I can see 12, right? 12 will follow 10. So I will go ahead and take 12 out of the picture. Do I have anything else in the tens place value? Oh, right there, 14. 14, take that out. Is there anything else in the tens place value? Anything else in the tens? No, that seems like it. Okay, now let's go in the 20s. So I have 21, anything smaller than 21, I have 20. So that's my next number, right? So it'll be 20. Do I have another number that repeats other than 20? No. Let's see, 21 follows. Right, take 21 out of the box. How about, oh look, 23, no, oh yeah, I had to have a 23 right there. I know I saw it. Take that 23 off. Let me see anything else. We have 25. Oh, before we forget, look, we have 24. So 24. Now we can put that 25. Do we have a 26? No. 27? No. 28. Okay, 29. Let's see. Oh, right there we have 29. Okay, 30. Do you have a 30? No. 31? Yes. So take that off. 31. No 32. No 33. We have a 34. Take off the 34. We have a 35. I saw 35 right there. 35. Take it off. We have a 36. 36. No 37. No 30. The 39 could follow, right? Right there. So it's going to move down because I ran out of paper. So 39. Okay, do we have a 40? No. A 41? No. Let's see. We have a 50 left. We have a 44. 50, 50, so the next number should be 44. Okay, now we have a 50. That should be our next number. According to the place value, right? We're going for place value, so 58 as follows. And then we have another 58, so we write the 58 alongside it. And we end up with 78. Awesome. So, as you can see here, my table, I don't have any numbers that I have not scratched off. No, I already organized them from least to greatest, okay? So when you see your table, then you will organize them from least to greatest, okay? Then when that happens, we do our stem and leaf plot. So when we start doing the stem and leaf plot, remember, step one, this was step one. Step one. We rewrite the data in order from least to greatest. So our data was rewritten in order from least to greatest. Okay, step two. Step two involves to write a title for our stem and leaf plot. So I'm going to keep that. We usually keep the same one from our data. Okay, so I kept the same one from our data. Draw two columns. So we did our two columns. And label them stem and leaf. Whoops, seems like I forgot to do that, right? So I'm going to go ahead and write stem and leaf on them. Okay? Now, we have our table set. I already added my key on how I want it to be read. So 1 line 0 will equal to 10. So that's how we're going to read my stem and leaf plot. Now, step 3. So under the stem part, step 3, under stem, write the tens digits. From the data in order from least to greatest. Okay, so that's going to be step 3. So I'm going to go back and look at my data here now. And I'm only going to focus on the tens digits. That's the hint on step 3. Only focus on the tens digits. So according to my data that I already set in from least to greatest, what should be my first number on my stem? 1, right? So I will write 1. Now, I keep on moving. That's the 1. Now we have a 2 for the 20s. Okay. Moving on, 2 for the 20s. We have 20. We have 3 for the 30s. Okay, 3. A 4 for the 40s. A 5 for the 50s. Wait a minute. I don't have a 60, but I'm still going to add a 6. That way it still looks nice and neat here. We don't have nothing numbers jumping. Even though we don't have data for 60, you still add it, okay? We're just simply going to leave this blank. And then we're going to add the 7 for our 70s data. So that's step 3. I rewrote all my stems. Okay, so that should make it easier when we're putting it into our stem and leaf. So I wrote our stems down 1 through 7. I got that from our data right here. Okay, once we organized it in order from least to greatest, I just went and looked at all the tens place value at all of them, and that's where I got our data from. Yes, we have multiples in the 30s, multiples in the 10s, but still, like we did previously, that will define in the leaf area, okay? Now, step 4. this is where it gets a little bit tricky because it's where you have to pay close attention, okay? So step 4, under leaf, next to each 10th digit, write the ones digits for each data value. From least to greatest. Okay, so remember, everything on stem and leaf has to be from least to greatest, okay? So now, we already have our stems, we got them from here. Now we're gonna go look at our, not 10th digit, no, yeah, next to the 10th digits, yes. Okay, so next to here, we're gonna write the data. So, it's not necessary because some of y'all may want to do a line underneath each one to keep it organized. You may do so, but you can also just leave it as is, okay? Just make sure we stay within each one. So if I write 9, let's say if I write 10, I'm gonna write the 0 next to the 1, not next to the 2. That way it doesn't get the data confused. You have to keep everything in order from least to greatest. So let's start with the first one, 10. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna cover the rest just in case I don't get confused. So I'm gonna start with the 10, I'm gonna write the 0. The 0, so 10, 12. Remember, we just simply write the ones next to that number. We don't add the number again. We only write the 10th place once, and then the ones value, you add them in from least to greatest as well. So 12, 14. Do I have anything else? Nope. I'm moving now to the 20, right? So I can go ahead and start like scratching the numbers off. That way I don't get confused. 20, 21, 23, 24, 25, 28, 29, okay, going down to 31, 34, 35, 36, 39, okay, I'm jumping to the 40s now, 44, okay, jumping to the 50s now, 50, 58, 58 again, so we have two 58s. Make sure just simply write that number twice, no problem, just write it twice, 50, 58, 58. I have nothing on the 60, so here we go. So if you don't have nothing on the 6, then you leave the leaf empty. Don't add a 0, don't add nothing in here, because that would tell whoever's reading this data, if it's empty like here, it means there was no values on the 60. So nobody went to the library within the ages of 60 and 69. Okay, so leave it empty. And then we go to the 70s part, which is 78. And voila, that's how we finish our stem and leaf plot. Okay, so as you can tell, we leave this part blank right here, because if we were to add anything here, that's adding data. So that would tell whoever is reading this table, this plot of stem and leaf, that there were no people that visited the library within the age of 60. Okay, now, do you guys think a stem and leaf plot would work if there were no leaves? So if there was all of this was blank, do you think it would work? In reality, it wouldn't work. Why not? Because we need this information right here. If it's just a stem, and it's not giving us anything. It's saying that for whatever research they did, there was nothing conducted, because we need the leaves to support that evidence. Even if it's just 10 or 21, the leaves will help us out. Okay? Can we have a stem and leaf plot without the stem? The same way? No, because even if it's a number between 0 and 9, the stem needs to be 0. Okay? So still, it needs both stem and leaf in order for it to work. Okay? Okay, my lovely monkeys, bear with me. We're almost there. So we're gonna go ahead and finish off with the guided practice. Okay? So let's go ahead and see. In 1 and 2, use the stem and leaf plot. So we're just using whatever they're giving us here. So in this case, we're gonna use the stem and leaf, and we're gonna answer the questions. Okay? Awesome. Let's go ahead and start. Okay, so 1, what is the least number of points scored? So I want to go ahead and emphasize the least number of what points scored. So let's go look at our key. We're reading our key first because that's important, right? 1-1 line 2 equals to 12. Okay, so I'm reading it like that. Where can I find my least number? If whoever created this stem and leaf plot organized their table from least to greatest, where will my least number start? Okay, you look at your stem, where's your least number? Here, right? That's your least number. Now you look at your leaf. From 2, 5, 8, 9, which one of those 4 numbers is your least one, your smallest one? 2. So, according to my table, what is the least number of points scored? 1 line 2. 1 line 2 equals to 12. So, 12 will be the least number of points scored. Okay? What is the greatest number of points scored? Now, emphasize on the greatest number of points scored. So now go to your stem, which is your greatest number, in this case 4, right? In this case it's going to be 4. Now in this stem we have 2 leaves, 3 and 5, which is 43 and 45. Now which is greater, 43 or 45? 45. So the greatest number of points scored would be 45 points. I'm sorry, I forgot to put the points up here. Okay, so that's how we read it. Okay, so remember, least will be closer, greatest will be the numbers apart. That way you can know that as well. Okay, least are right next to each other and on the top. Greatest are at the bottom, the first number and the last number. That way you know which one's least and greatest. Okay, now let's move on to the third question. Okay, what is the meaning of this key at the bottom of a stem and leaf plot? So why do we need this key? Why is this here? Like, is there any cost for it? Do you guys think it's necessary? Why do we have this key right here? Well, it's necessary because it allows us to read the table. So we use the key to correctly read the stem and leaf plot. Okay, sometimes our table might give us a different number, right? And then that way we can interpret that number correctly. So it's always good when we're looking at stem and leaf plots the first thing to do is to go look at that key so you know how to read your data. Okay, always go back and read that key. Okay, so now we're here. Number 4. Complete the stem and leaf plot to show the following ages in years for people in a store. So it looks like we have our table here. Are they organized in least to greatest? Well, no. Then we're going to go ahead and have to organize. So that's our first step, right? Organize your data from least to greatest. So let's go ahead and organize it. So I'm going to go ahead and use this side of my paper. Let's go ahead and look at our numbers. Focus on yourself only on the tens place value of those numbers. That way it can make it easier for you to identify where to start. So it looks like we do have tens. So do we have anything smaller than 13? Anything smaller than 13? We have a 10. So that could be our smallest number, right? Because we don't have anything just with the ones. So our first one will be 10 by 10. Okay. Do we have 11? No. We have a 13, right? According to our data, that's our next number. Okay, we have, let's see, 14, no. We have a 15. 15. We also have a 16. We have a 17. We have an 18. Do we have a 19? No. 20? Do we have a 20? No. So let's see. Let's go back to our tens. We have 27. Anything smaller than 27? We have 22. Anything smaller than 22? No. So our next number is 22, followed by the 27, because that's still in the 20s section, right? Do you have anything else in the 20s? No. Let's go to the 30s now. Let's see. We have 39, 32. So obviously the next one will be the smallest one first. 32, and then 39. Scratch those off. Okay. Do you have anything in the 40s? 46, 41, 46. We have 46 twice. 46. 46, take those off, and then we said we had, whoops, My mistake. You see how you can easily do it incorrectly? I was going too fast and did not notice I had a 41 over here. So my 41 should go first. I'm going to just enter a bleep right here of 41, 39, 41, 46, and 46. You see? Even I can make mistakes, so it's totally fine. So just make sure if you do that, use a pencil, that way you can erase. Don't be like me that I'm using a pen. I'm only using a pen to make it nicer on the video. So 41, 46, and 46. Do I have anything else on the 40s? No. Okay, do I have anything on the 50s? No. Is it 60, 60, 70? No. Okay, so 60's next. So let me go slow, 60 and 64. So my first one will be 60 and then 64, right? Do I have anything else on the 60s? No. And then 70 will be my last number then. So then that is my table, my data already organized from least to greatest. Now step 2, I already created my table. I named it ages of people in a store, because that is what it's telling us here, right? To show the following ages in years for people in a store. So ages of people in a store, I wrote my stem and leaf, I have my information, and I have my key, how I want it to be read. Okay? So 3 line 0 equals to 30. Now, that was step 2. Step 3, I need to go ahead and organize my stem first. So it looks like I will start with my 1. I do have 20s. I do have 30s. I have 40s. I don't have 50s, but like I mentioned before, I'm still adding it. That way it doesn't look like a weird stem and leaf plot. I do have 60s and I do have 70s. Okay, so now that I've put my stem, which are my tens place value, I'm going to go ahead and I already have them in chronological order. All I need to do is input them also in chronological order from least to greatest. So my leaf, I'm going to start with 10, scratch it off, 13, scratch it off, 15, scratch it off, 16, scratch it off, 17, scratch it off, 18, scratch it off. Now I'm going to go to my 20s. So I have 22, 27. Okay, I'm going to jump to my 30s, 32, 39. Now, don't forget, I made a bleep right there, right? A mistake. So I'm going to go back to my 40s. I'm going to add 41 first, then 46, then 46 again. Okay, do I add anything on my 50s part? No, because I have nothing there. 60, 64, and last but not least, 70. Okay, so that I am done with my table. So I already set my table how it is. Everything's in order from least to greatest. Okay, so that is how you organize your date for going from the steps that we went previous over here, from step 1 all the way to step 4. So make sure that when we're creating those tables, we go from step 1, 2, 3, and 4 in order to create that successful stem and leaf plot. Whoopsie, sorry. Okay, my last question is, how should you organize the list of values from a table before putting it in a stem and leaf plot? So if they give me a mumbo jumbo values like the one up here, they just give me numbers like that, how should I organize them? According to my steps, I need to put them in from least to greatest. Okay, so always remember that. Your data needs to be inputted from least to greatest. Okay, so always remember that. Okay guys, well, I hope this video helps you guys out for your independent practice. Remember, you guys can ask us any question during our conference hours from 9 to 12, and we will be more than happy to help you out. Again, for this lesson, I will be uploading only a PDF. This reason, because you guys will need to create your own tables. So you will look at the PDF. If you can print it, go ahead and do so and answer the questions there. Send us a picture through Schoology of your work. And if you don't have a printer, then use your device to look at the PDF, and on a separate sheet of paper, on a blank sheet of paper, just write your answers and send us the answers for your activity. Okay. With that said, guys, we truly miss you. I'm sorry. We hope to see you soon, and as always, make good choices and take care. Happy Star Wars Day. Bye, everybody.